lamp, does not want to see flippers, apparently does not like ice. And this is their first tournament. So it looks like we have our runners getting ready right now. They should be able to start shortly.
Yep, and for anybody new, actually, like we're starting. So we are running standard with swords randomized. Uncle is going to have some kind of weapon so we can get through escape. But other than that, everything is going to be randomized, and we have to go save Zelda from her cell before we can start going all over Hyrule finding the items we need.
Well, we only have a moment to guess, but what do you think that item's going to be at the Uncle?
I've seen a lot of bombs. I'm hoping it's anything but bombs. I'm gonna actually I've never seen Vanilla Sword. I actually want to see Vanilla Sword.
There's got to be one chance for it, right?
Yeah, I've actually never seen it since V29 came out. And I've been running seeds with it though.
Well, we find out on the right, and it's an actual sword.
Hey, I called it.
All right, we got commentator's blessings on the mic, all match long.
Now, don't say blessing, because later it will be the complete opposite.
Well, I'm seeing some nice things. I mean, it's always good to wake up in the morning and get a big 20.
Yeah, that'll help when they get to Kakariko, especially if, they don't get any bomb drops, anything like that. That'll let them, they're going to need at least 150 rupees at that point to do everything in Kakariko.
Of course, I definitely highly recommend every runner pick up bombs and escape. Made that mistake recently. It's not something you want to repeat. You never know what's going to be in the back half.
Yeah, sometimes I guess, especially standard, that's a little bit of the RNG we can get compared to NMG runs. Because if you don't start with bombs, which, I don't know many people that actually enjoy starting with bombs for this run yet, but kind of stuck with the RNG and hopefully getting a bomb drop off of something, but getting a permanent weapon that's not ammo based makes it a little bit easier because you can kill everything on the way.
You raised a really good point about RNG being different here in the randomizer. Of course it is, randomized. But in the NMG run, for example, we wouldn't even pick up our first bombs. If you were taking the safe strat, you wouldn't pick it up until Sahasrahla. So this is definitely, an important difference between that category and this randomizer.
Nothing major yet in Escape. We did get some blue mail though, so that'll help.
Shout outs to the blue version of the Chrono Trigger sprite for Frog though. I'm gonna guess the name has something to do with that.
I'm guessing so.
So we have a couple of different strategies for dealing with this ball and chain guard. This is where the commentary starts to sound like NMG because SpaceKat here is doing the kind of tried and true 8-slash method. JanusZeal opting to go for a little bit of a safer strat to throw 2 pots, which do effectively 4 slashes of damage each. In the basement, we have the most important chest of the game, the single arrow.
Yeah, and it didn't look like there was too much of a difference on times with the kills either way.
Yep, and while it is fastest to do 8-slash, if you mess up at all, I mean, that's where the pot strats are probably a little more reliable.
I did miss it, but it looks like SpaceKat did actually get a bomb drop at some point, and Janus is still looking for one, so that might play a little bit of a factor.
Yeah, our runners definitely need at least one. That's the big thing here. Of course, any more that we find beyond that, though, is just, icing on the cake. We wouldn't have to buy bombs in Kakariko, which is a big advantage.
Does depend on how many we find, though.
Right. At the bare minimum, we definitely want to have at least 3. Although we could definitely use more than that.
Yeah, because, you know, if they make the play towards Mini Moldorm Cave after Kakariko, then they'll need at least one there. Ice Rod Cave. I've seen a couple runners so far the tournament skip Ice Rod Cave, not to their liking, because there's usually been major items there, so it's kind of seems like V29 is not something you want to skip anymore.
And that makes a lot of sense. You know, as a lot of us out here in the community are familiar with it, you know, your logic for each item that you have to get for progression is going to be gated behind everything that, you know, you can find in what we like to call the first and second sphere, which are basically the least restrictive areas of the game. So if Ice Rock Cave is available right as soon as you leave the sanctuary, no point in skipping it.
Yeah, no point in skipping it. It's just can take a little bit of time to get there if you don't have boots to make it quicker, or the flute to where you can get at least halfway there. But yeah, not skipping it is kind of a big thing I've seen. I don't think many runners, after skipping it once and paying for it, are going to be skipping it again.
Janus got a little unlucky there. He had Northwest Key Rat, probably the worst RNG you can get in that room.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he did not get bombs, and that is actually going to be a major thing because we find the flute.
That's pretty difficult. You know, unlike the vanilla game, though, our rats here could potentially spawn bombs, but we have gone up the stairs. Putting them in the same, you know, they're pretty much synced, but this is a rough situation for Janus because we're going to need Power Glove to get back in unless we want to do the whole escape again.
Yeah, the wall in the throne room, that is still open on this. But yeah, to get back in there, he's going to have to find his Power Glove now or walk all the way through the sewers one more time. And the fact that Space Cat will be able to just route it right into Kakariko, whereas Janus, when he does come back and get it, he'll need to run back to Kakariko.
Well, I suppose if I was Space Cat here, you got to wonder. I mean, is this where you start going to the Ice Rod Cave? I mean, you have the flute, so Death Mountain is also available. And if Space Cat's able to do dark rooms, we could also check the Old Man.
I would say, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea, especially if you can do the dark room, because it is 3 items up there. But I would definitely probably do at least Kakariko, bare minimum, before even thinking about heading up there.
Looks like Aghanim's rich, or at least the Lumberjack guys have stashed 300 rupees in their caves, so probably not going to be going after Aghanim anytime soon.
Yeah, the tree cutting is definitely paying off for them, though.
It's a lucrative business. If you count all these trees in the entire forest, I mean, you're going to have a lot of rupees at the end of this.
Yeah, they're going to be sitting on a mountain of money.
Ah, the Swaghanim net. All right, so now the real strats can start.
And a bee and a bottle. That's actually a nice find early as well, because then you can route Sick Kid in with the rest of Kakariko instead of having to come back for that one-off location.
Well, so that hits pretty much everything outside of the blackjack, not blackjack, the blacksmith area. So they do have pretty much all of the town. That's going to help out a lot for Space Cat particularly, but both of them are going to have a nice clear here.
And that's one of their majors. Oh, Janus did actually just pick up to get a 8-bomb drop from one of the guards, so that helps.
Well, it's about as good of a drop as you can get. It's just a little bit late. You know, we're not going to need really any other extra bombs for quite a long time, because this should cover pretty much every bomb hole that we have to hit for, as far as I can tell, pretty much the entire run. I mean, depending on how you use your bombs.
Okay, now that Death Mountain play is making a little bit more sense, finding the hook shot in Blind's hut.
And the Quake, if only we had Titan's Mitts and the Hammer.
Yeah, we would also need a Moon Pearl, but...
That would be pretty wild if all of these things led us to Death Mountain and then we found all of those items there and then had to dive into Turtle Rock.
That would be ugly, even with Blue Mail. Have 3 hearts in a Turtle Rock, I don't even want to think about it.
In the meantime, we get to see what's in the well. Wow, coins and rupees everywhere.
So that kind of makes me a little nervous having 2 medallions this early in the game, because the chances of having Misery Mire or Turtle Rock both unlocked at this point is pretty high.
Yeah, we've certainly found a lot of the more annoying things that get us into these dungeons. So, you know, I mean, we're obviously going to be on a hunt for the Moon Pearl, as we just mentioned, but all in all, they have a lot of access. Well, at least SpaceKat does for now.
Yeah, it'll actually be interesting because we could see some very early routing changes between the two of them. Since SpaceKat has Hookshot and Flute, could go right up to Death Mountain, because that's actually a lot of items up there. Whereas Janus, you know, more than likely is probably going to make the play to Lake Hylia and check out Mini Moldorm Cave and the dam.
That certainly seems sensible. And SpaceKat's going to have a big advantage if she decides to go the same way, because she would be able to just simply, you know, flute to wherever she wants to check next.
Yeah, her routing is going to be a little bit quicker, because more than likely won't be doing any save and quits, anything like that, and just want to go exactly where she's going to need to.
Well, we do get to see on Janus' screen the boot locked item here in the library. It's the safety cane. All right. It is entirely possible that our runners could go pick that up, but I mean, that's got to be a low priority item at this point.
And we did have the map check. It looked like we had a number 2 crystal was on Eastern. We had the 5 crystal on Hera and a blue or red pendant on Desert.
Well, I'm always a fan of a pendant desert because who wants to fight Lamolus, right?
We could find the Moon Pearl there, though.
That is true. That's a really good point. So one thing that, well, I mean, we'd have to find the book because you really can't mirror back into it.
Yeah, we'd either need to get the book or Mirror and Titansmith would actually get us in there right now, too.
Oh, right, because the ledge is lower. Yeah, so with the mirror, they'd be able to do that if they had Titansmith. So that should be an interesting, you know, position because the mire area is also going to be probably relatively accessible early.
That was actually interesting to see. SpaceKat has the flute, but I think that was actually I'm not sure if she took a save. I think it was a save and quit instead of using flute.
We're also not seeing much from the drain here, so it looks like JanusZeal is going to head towards the Light World Hype Cave. Remains to be seen where SpaceKat's going to go next. I mean, you don't really want to walk to Agina's cave from here.
No, and I know Agina's cave, you know, with the flute, it does make it a little bit quicker if she remembers she has that. But, you know, you could also flute to go get Ice Rod Cave, and then she's got all of Death Mountain, too. But she's actually going to look like walking to Agina's cave.
There's a semi-decent chance that this is like an NMG reflex, because it's very hard to forget what you're doing when you're used to doing the speed run.
Yeah, and even in, you know, randomizer, getting the flute as early as this, sometimes you're just not used to having flute for early routing, so you're just, like you said, muscle memory, you're just kind of going through. But we won't be looking for a Moon Pearl anymore because we just found it in the Mini Moldorm Cave.
Holy smokes, man. This is a really rough spot for Janus, though, because, I mean, getting that Moon Pearl is great, but without that flute, that's a whole lot of extra time.
And SpaceKat will do another save and quit. looks like she's heading probably to Mini Moldorm Cave herself, where she'll pick up her Moon Pearl.
So I guess if you're Janus in this situation, I mean, really your staying in this race is going to depend a lot on how much you route or how well you route, because definitely going to be a while before we head back to, the back half of Escape.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that too is if we don't find a Power Glove here, which we didn't in Ice Rod Cave, that more than likely means that glove has to be somewhere in the eastern area, since we know it's not on Agonas, because he has to have access, unless, I'm trying to think, standard logic might not require Power Gloves since you can get there.
Yeah, you don't actually have to have Power Glove for that. Happened to me recently in a seed. It was actually hook shot in the back of Escape, which led to Power Glove. But yeah, that's a very frustrating way to go through a seed. So I'm hoping that Janus doesn't have the same bad luck here.
And Janus is setting up the fake flipper glitch. Since he's got Moon Pearl, he'll be able to water walk and get the 2 waterfall chests and at least check the ledge.
Certainly a wise play. No reason not to do it. If you have the Moon Pearl, you might as well be trying to figure out what's in there. Now, a couple things could be really good. Obviously, progression's nice. We do get to see the last medallion on the Lake Hylia island, which is interesting. So we do have, no worries there about go mode for later. But so we want to find, hopefully a nice sword upgrade would be good, any kind of progression. But in all likelihood, there's probably going to be a few rupees in the waterfall.
Yeah, and anything that he does end up finding there will be considered a sequence break until we do find flippers.
Speaking of sequence breaks, what's the hobo got?
Hobo has our 10 bomb drop.
It looks like he wanted to take down the bridge.
I think it's a good thing we saved that then.
Yeah, we showed up just in time. I mean, he had fuses on all 10 of them.
Nope, Ice Rod was checked. It was a piece of heart. But Janus is not actually doing the full sequence breaking check going up to Waterfall. We'll see if SpaceKat decides to.
Yep, and based on this jump, it looks like we're going to try and get fake flipper glitch out of this. It's a little bit finicky to get on the way back. You want to be a little bit higher up on the screen. The problem is if you go too high up on the screen, you can actually mess up the fake flippers and kind of soft lock, but it looks like SpaceKat got it after a couple tries.
Well, Sahasrala's had silvers.
Holy smokes, he had the secret to beating Ganon the whole time. Well, it's definitely a welcome find. I mean, it's very early on in the seed. Who knows where the bow is going to be, and that is required. But on the bright side, no matter what sword we end up with by the time we get to Ganon, we're probably going to be in good shape. We'll have to find one more upgrade at the minimum, but our runner's going to be happy to see that.
Yeah, I know. I definitely breathe a sigh of relief when I find the silvers, because, Master Sword, Silverless Ganon, I don't think anybody actually enjoys that.
Hope you like to spin to win. Speaking of Master Sword, SpaceKat with the fake flipper play to Waterfall Cave finds the Master Sword in there. So this is the Master Waterfall? What do we call that?
The Master Fall. I don't know. We could call it that, I guess.
I like it. I like it. That's going to be a very hefty advantage, though. It's going to be a while before Janus can get back there, and really depends on where we find the flippers, which could be just about anywhere. Just needs to not be behind water, ice and swamp. That's about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting. SpaceKat's actually walking all the way to Zora, but doesn't have the 500 rupees.
Oh, that's not good. Gets patrolled pretty hard by the Zora King, who does pop out to say hi. Does not pop out to give an item.
Doesn't even say anything about being broke. So the question is she, if she goes to Eastern, I think she's just completely forgot that she has that flute, or she's checking it. But it's like it really looks like there might be some progression here, in Eastern, but if not, we know we got to go to Death Mountain. But this is letting Janus catch up.
Definitely favorable for Janus. I mean, you're absolutely right. Death Mountain would be the play if we don't find something here. There's really nowhere else we can go. I mean, we've checked pretty much all of Sphere 1 at this point. It looks like Janus was forced to turn back, not finding any progression that far in the dungeon. Not sure if we found every item in there, but I'm assuming with the saving quit we did.
No, we hadn't yet, so I don't know if he's just not wanting to do too many sequence breaks, because he stopped at the third chest, so there still would have been, the big chest, as well as if he hadn't found the big key, that would have been back in the dark room. But that's interesting. So it looks like he's going to Agnes Cave, not going to find anything there, and that's going to leave him to go back through the sewers at that point.
Yeah, it's definitely fortunate to find out that you had to go back through escape early on. The worst thing that can happen to Janus here is to find, a progression item that's going to lead us down a goose chase. Not having that flute would have been much worse. So I get the feeling we should have a pretty close race once we do find it.
Yeah, SpaceKat will still have a little bit of a lead because of having the flute and being able to, how she was able to route the activation. But Janus is still going to have to walk all the way through the sewers and then go activate it again.
And then, of course, SpaceKat does have the advantage of a Master Sword, which is a very nice addition to have in your inventory early on.
Yeah, especially if we end up having to dip into some Dark World dungeons early, for boss fights especially. If they find an early Fire Rod, that could end up, pushing them into Skull Woods, which is nobody's favorite fight if you have a Fighter Sword and Fire Rod without half magic.
I'm wondering, did Janus miss the Ice Rod Cave before? Or maybe probably trying the Waterfall Cave fake flipper then?
Yeah, I believe he's fake flippering, which, I understand where he's coming from is he's looking for an item, but it's out of sequence, so he knows there's not going to be anything that's going to progress him closer there. So...
I do admire the attempt to do to do no setup fake flippers, though. It's actually pretty difficult.
SpaceKat is going to keep going through, so it looks like it's going to follow the sequence break.
This is certainly a much more approachable sequence break compared to other parts of the game. I mean, we're pretty much just heading right and down, grabbing a key, and getting through. SpaceKat is used to having 3 less hearts when going through this section, and Janus accidentally messed up the water walk, so we won't be getting to see Zora yet.
And you still could have went and checked Zora, because you don't need the water walk to get back to Zora or even check the ledge. But, no rupees, you would only be really checking the ledge.
Looks like we are going to return to the escape, but a pause on Janus' screen might be thinking out the options here.
Yeah, probably looking at what he has and what's open to him, seeing if there was anything maybe he missed, but seeing nothing that he missed, knows he has to go back into the escape and knows that it's there.
In the meantime, SpaceKat gets a really nice damage boost for the vanilla big key. Remains to be seen what we're going to find in that big chest. It would be very nice for SpaceKat if it was a bow.
Yeah, vanilla bow certainly would be a troll. That would really hurt Janus then, because it's probably going to be a while until he makes his way back in Eastern Palace.
Big 20s work too, though. Our runners definitely need more rupees.
Yeah. It looks like he's actually going to Aga, which is interesting because Aga's a sequence break because you don't have a lamp yet.
I'm trying to think of what we would want to see on the pyramid if I were in his situation.
I mean, I'm trying to think of that myself. I can't think of anything that would be huge, but yeah, it's just like, it's, you know, I'm not sure if he knows the dark rooms, because I know this is one of like the last dark rooms most runners would even learn, because you never, especially for standard or open, because you never have to come in here without a lamp.
And of course, on top of that, it's a dark maze, you know, so we have fairly difficult progression up the tower. I'm not surprised that we're saving quitting out of that.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think if Janus just isn't thinking about those back 3 chests is that, you know, in open logic, you do need the mitts to get to those 3 chests, but in standard logic, you don't, because it's accessible right away from the start of the game. You just need bombs to get back in there, but you just have to go through the throne room if you don't have the gloves.
We might be seeing Janus head right back into Eastern Palace, which not going to be too fruitful for us here.
Old man decides to give SpaceKat his shield.
Very thoughtful gift, but not too useful here on the mountain.
And SpaceKat heading over to East Death Mountain before checking Spectacle Rock, it looks like.
It's always nice to see someone not get Waffle House there. That's a pretty dangerous section. Yeah, so at this point, if Janus had actually picked up the big key from this check earlier, probably would not have come back into this dungeon, I think.
Yeah, but as far as the 2v2 is a completely different tournament. This is 1v1s only. That's a nice thing to find up on Death Mountain, though.
Couldn't pick much of a better place to find it. You know, here in the light world, that's going to get us to Tower of Hera immediately, which is nice.
Yeah, as well as we are a glove away from our Dark World now, too.
Speak of the devil, and he shall arrive. There is the power glove.
Okay, now the only thing you want to find more than that is you want to find Titan's Mitts while you're up here, because then you can check Dark Death Mountain when you're done.
Well, I got to think in this position, SpaceKat's feeling pretty good about the early part of the game. Doesn't obviously see where Janus is, but getting a nice bomb jump here, we should be able to clear out a lot of Death Mountain very quickly, not having to make too many return trips here.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing I could think that maybe she thinks she's, you know, maybe a little bit behind is the fact that she was doing all her early routing without the flute, and if she remembers she found an escape, she knows her opponent could very well have it, just doesn't know if they have the bomb or not.
And it appears we're going to check Tower of Hera side and also Spectacle Rock before checking the rest of right half, which is pretty much just Spiral Cave.
It's going to dip in Tower of Hera, which, you know, the basement, we'll actually find out if this is a fire-locked dungeon, which there's a key, which is not a good sign.
Well, if you like coin flips. Let's see what the second chest has. If it's a big key, that's good.
Okay, we can go up Tower of Hera now.
Janus has got to watch health here. He only has half a heart to work with here in Eastern. Ouch.
Takes it. I was trying to think what he was trying to do. I'm guessing he was thinking about going up to maybe Armos and doing a sword fight with him, which is very possible. It's not in. Oh no, that's right. They can't because of Red Mimic. I always forget about that one.
Yeah, if it weren't for mimics, I don't think under any circumstances you would actually have to have the bow in this game besides like Palace of Darkness. And yeah, I want to say that's the only arrow switch you have to hit.
Yeah, I believe so. The only other thing would be, as far as sequence, is Ganon. Technically, you're supposed to have silver arrows. So
Right, of course. We did get to see a really nice spin slash style bomb jump from SpaceKat. That's some NMG stuff. If you're facing towards the ledge, you can do a spin slash. It puts you as close to the ledge as possible. And then when you do your bomb jump, you don't have to dash into the wall.
But yeah, with the items we saw, though, we are going to have to go in. We're going to have to come back for the basement at some point. Perhaps, if it's something that we need, because we did not find we only found dungeon items.
We did see a somewhat perplexing bomb jump skip out of SpaceKat there with falling into the hole, but should be making the approach on Moldorm shortly. Wisely hitting the switch to have extra hearts here. Ooh, Janus got the worst possible Stalfos room. That's probably pretty frustrating.
And SpaceKat using the hammer strats.
I like to call it swag dorm. That's the hardest way to do it, but that's a rough
but got the worst troll.
Well, I'm going to say that Troll Dorm is not easy to deal with, particularly with Hammer. It's a very small hitbox that you can have available to you, so using the Hammer on Moldorm, definitely a much faster strat, although it's challenging to do right.
Yes, definitely. But, with Master Sword, you can do spins with Master Sword and still skip his enraged state. There goes Troll Dorm.
Looks like we're seeing some frustration out of JanusZeal, not really knowing where to go. I get the feeling you were right earlier about the open mode being kind of the familiar territory, because right now can't really seem to figure out how we're going to get to the flute here.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing. It's, if that's really the case, hopefully he remembers that there are still those 3 chests, and he needs to get back there.
Chad, kind of wondering the same things about missing those chests. That being said, though, it's not like it's that difficult of a miss to make. I mean, if you don't have bombs and escape, it's not always obvious that you could miss those chests. Done it myself, and it's usually a pretty bad catastrophe to not go back to get them. So I'm hoping that Janus does remember.
No, you still do get a free light cone in the sewers no matter what. But yeah, if you're playing open mode, the logic requires you to have gloves to get back there. In standard mode, because you can always get back there, it's open from the get-goes.
Well, it looks like SpaceKat's going to be the first one to see the Dark World here. Let's see what Village of Outcasts has for us. We did get a map check.
Yeah, it looks like we got Thieves Town as our red, Ice Palace is the green, and Misery Mires are 6, with everything else is crystals.
Well, there's some blessings and curses. Relatively fast dungeons for the pendants, so if it was a pedestal required, that would probably be favorable. Rough, though, because if we have to do any double dips or if we have to run into some of these dungeons to get items, you never want it to be a pendant. That's not always fun. So Ice Palace, we might have to explore that.
Well, even if they go to Ice Palace, when Ice Palace becomes unlocked, because right now they need Titans and a fire, either Bombo, which they already have Bombo, so all they need is actually Titans to get into it, and they already have Hammer and Hookshot, so they'd actually be able to get all the way through that dungeon right now once they can get into it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're hoping that they don't have to do that though. We also do still need to find flippers unless we're gonna fake flipper, but would be difficult. So we're not really seeing too much about where our next route should be necessarily. I mean, Thieves Town is available and you can check those chests pretty quickly. That I could see SpaceKat doing that in this situation.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad play. It's a pendant, so if you find all 4 items, it's not even green pendant, then you could just, nope out after the 4th chest. But we'll see what she decides. Big key in the first chest.
Could be the coveted God Town. The other nice thing working for our runners is that they will. Well, I'm assuming that Janus does find the flute, but they will have Hammer in all likelihood going through this, so they're not gonna have to worry about missing that big key chest if it really comes down to that.
Well, we found the red shield.
Well, I mean, Red Shield is definitely a nice thing to have in this dungeon, but I don't think that we want to put it to use here, unfortunately. We don't want to fight blind if we don't have to, that being a pendant, but it could be the item location, so with this much health, I mean, it wouldn't be that strange to see SpaceKat do the fight.
It'll probably depend if he has the 4th item or not.
Yeah, absolutely, because, I mean, otherwise it wouldn't bother. This has got to be really frustrating for Janus on his side. I mean, really running against a wall here. Must know at this point that, there's obviously been an item missed, because there's really nowhere else to go.
Yeah, hopefully he remembers, but we'll see. HJ 57. What happened is Janus did not have a bomb, or did not find a bomb during the escape sequence, so he skipped the 3 chests and escape. And I'm guessing logically he thinks right now it's not available because he doesn't have gloves or a lamp. He does in standard mode. You do have a free lamp back there for the entire game. It doesn't go dark when you get Zelda. So those chests are very in logic, and that's where the flute is, which will lead him to Death Mountain, where we found Hammer, we found and gloves. So we found our ticket to the Dark World. and I kind of saw him bring his tracker over his stream, and it looks like he is going off of an open mode map. So if he's looking at the colors and everything, logically he thinks that he can't get back there anymore.
I guess that does make a good case for the rare few folks out there who don't use a tracker. Just kind of, knowing where you've been, but, tracker or not, that's just a tough mistake to deal with. I mean, you've assumed that you've gotten everything. You're racking your brain, like, where could I have missed something? And being that it was right in the first couple minutes of the game, pretty easy being 40 minutes in now to not really realize you missed it.
Yeah. We've kind of went over it. Janus is still there. He's probably racking his brain. He's missing one item. He's missing the flute, sadly, and it's in the escape. He just did not have a bomb when he went through it when he saved Zelda. And going from what we saw, he kind of brought his tracker on stream. The logic is saying he can't get back there anymore, which isn't true.
Wow, there's a bow there in Thieves Town. So SpaceKat made a very intelligent dive to go into the bottom of Thieves Town for that. Looks like SpaceKat will try the blind fight, though, being that there is still an item here. Here in the fight, though, we went a little bit off script of what we would normally want to see. The red shield being pretty handy here. Definitely the kind of fight you want it for. But SpaceKat's done this fight a bunch of times. No problems. Gets through it easy.
Yep, down goes blind. We'll see what that fourth item is, and we'll pick up a pendant.
Oh, baby, a big 20. That's exactly what we wanted to find.
Well, the big 20 and the peace of mind that there's nothing else in this dungeon.
Yeah, certainly good information to have. I truly think that Janus here is just absolutely bewildered that this isn't open mode. That's got to be it, because I can't think of any other, where else would you want to go? I mean, we know we didn't miss any other items.
Yeah, so we'll see. He was moving. See where he plans on going.
In the meantime, we get a digging game out of SpaceKat. Taking a large number of digs to get the boots. Wow.
Well, that's worth it.
So, I guess, Sir Link-a-Lot, the run can now start, right?
Yeah, now that we can run, the run is official.
Well, it does open up a lot of things, but it's just nice to have the boots anyway. I mean, obviously you want to be getting through here as quick as you can, but we can now, with a fair amount of confidence, go into desert. We'll still need that lamp if we want to fight Lammolis. Janus starting over the seed, it looks like.
I think he's trying to figure out. He's gonna obviously go through escape again and hope for a bomb drop. And if he gets the bomb drop and finds the flute, I'm not sure what his plan is at that point. Yeah, on the the game he was going before he just started over. I'm not sure, what he's thinking right now as far as starting over. The only location he has to check within logic, and he can actually get to, period, because he could get to egg 1 if he can go through the dark rooms, but it's not within logic, and we have no idea what we're going to find in the pyramid. We know it's not going to be anything important, unless it would be Titan's Myths, which would get him back there at that point. But the only place he can go within logic on the other save is the back of escape, where he's going to find a flute.
And the really tough part here is that as soon as he finds the flute, you got to think he just, boots up his first file again and has to do it twice.
Yeah, at that point, I'm sure he'll, go back on the first file, grab the flute again, and go from there. It's just, at that point, you're incredibly behind. It'd be a lot of mistakes would have to be made at that point.
Well, while Janus heads back through escape, we're going to get a quick pyramid check from SpaceKat. Bomb's not being too great of a find. But Janus does have a bomb drop this time around, so that'll be interesting to see if that's going to get us to there quicker. I mean, I get the feeling that Janus might have realized, but then again, we haven't reloaded the other file yet.
Yeah, he is using a tracker, but it was an open mode tracker. So according to his map locations, he doesn't have access to escape right now since he left it.
Well, he does get his blue suit. In the meantime, SpaceKat's going to attempt a quick warp, actually, on this catfish, but we don't have a mirror, so we can't really do the quick warp. It gets the setup, though. I gotta love the dedication to NMG. Finds a fire rod for the trouble, though.
Yeah, not going to want a quick warp out of that. Which that does open up Skull Woods entirely.
Very handy to have that fire rod, too. There's a lot of situations where that's just going to be a really useful weapon. And it does give us our fire access, too, so Hera Basement is now available. We're probably not going there right away, but... and so is the rest of Desert, so all of Desert's available once we have the boots, or Titan's Mid and Mirror.
Yeah, we'll need the book or Titan's Mitt and the mirror, and then we can get to Desert and we'll have full access there.
Well, I like everything about what Kat's doing here, except for not having the mirror. That stinks for Palace of Darkness, but other than that, though, we are good to clear it out, so no reason not to do this now.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we are mere moments, or I guess a minute or two away from Janus having a probably very angry reaction to finding those chests. Be interesting to see if we see any rage slashes out of that. In the meantime, though, SpaceKat does find a regular heart container in Palace of Darkness. Has to take a long way to get back through the dungeon, so SpaceKat should be here for a while.
Yeah, and depending how comfortable she is with the dark rooms, she'll probably end up, getting everything, getting the crystal, and then, never having to come back to pod.
I think there might be a pretty decent chance of trying a bomb jump here, too, but without the mirror, that's a little bit less rewarding. So to kind of clarify for chat, because it seems like we have a couple people jumping in on this, haven't been watching. Janus restarted the file to kind of do some research. We're missing exactly one item, which is in the back half of Escape. Janus is about to find it right now. It's the flute, and this has put Janus about 40 or so minutes behind. It's been a very rough time, so we'll probably get a restart, or not a restart, we'll probably load up the first file as soon as he finds it here.
He is actually going to just continue, it looks like.
Well, for what it's worth, there are quite a lot of things that now that you have the flute, you can get faster. So for the time sink that goes into Escape, ooh, we have flippers in Palace of Darkness.
That's not something. Well, they still need Titan's Mitts, but yeah, that doesn't really unlock too much. Gives them one, they'll stand in Mirror, but I know Mirror will give them access to Swamp Palace. It'll give them access to Ether Coin. Yeah, so more than likely what's going off of the fact that he's continuing on this second one, I think he believes, going off his tracker, that the only chance you have at those escape chests are if you get a bomb during the actual escape. In open mode, that is the case. You do need gloves or a lamp to get to those chests. For standard mode, you don't need anything. You can get to those chests from the beginning of the game. Even after you've left it, you still have the free light cone to get back to those chests.
Well, it's a very difficult setback for Janus, but with that flute, it should be a little bit easier to gain a little bit of ground. As we saw earlier, SpaceKat didn't really take advantage of the flute early in the routing, so definitely a couple of opportunities for Janus here, but that's a huge climb.
And SpaceKat finding mostly keys in the front like you usually do. If he's been, keeping track of everything, then yeah, he should know where pretty much everything is, except, the one area, which is Death Mountain. He'll probably still check everything to get, some heart containers, things like that, so he's not too dangerous when he does end up in Dark World.
Well, moment of truth, I guess, if we're going to see that bomb jump. And looks like we're going to skip it, although could potentially do top strats. I think what makes the most sense, though, is that we're going to check as many things as possible before, kind of resorting to that. If it ends up being, say we have the big key and that's, everything that we can check, maybe worth it to try a top bomb jump as well.
Yeah, Ninban, chat kind of answered it, but he did actually pull up his tracker, and we saw it on the stream. He was using an open mode tracker, so the tracker was showing that he doesn't have access to those 3 chests, that they're not within logic.
Well, the goose is loose on the right and not a whole lot on the left. Palace of Darkness doesn't seem to be a very fruitful play at the moment.
No, it doesn't seem like there's too much in here, but still at the same time, he's going to need the crystal. I'm guessing she seems pretty comfortable with her dark room strats, so we'll see if she goes into the basement of Pod after this, because I know that's a whole other beast by itself, but with the fire rod, it does make the turtle room pretty easy.
Definitely the case. Very handy to have in that particular scenario, because those turtles can be deadly. And you're absolutely right about dark rooms. We just saw a blind bomb throw to open up the big key chest, so clearly knows her way around this room. Well, looks like Janus is about done with Kakariko. Looks like we're going to get a south side check next. Knows what Aegina's Cave has, and Ice Rod Cave, so it'd be interesting to see if we go for different items here.
Yeah, we'll go over it. Janus missed the back of escape. He thought it was out of logic after he's checked everything else, and that he didn't think he could get back there, so he restarted. And he's going through it again because he still thinks it's out of logic, or that he can't get back there, probably because he doesn't have a light to get back to the back of escape where the flute was hiding.
One of the toughest things here for Dark Room navigation in Palace of Darkness is you don't have a mirror to escape from this, so if you die in the dungeon or if you want to save and quit, both are pretty costly.
Yeah, and I don't believe, and I believe it'll just hold a key, but I know there's still the one room she hasn't checked. From the looks of it, though, it'll probably just hold a key.
So after Palace of Darkness, what would we check next? I mean, we do have Skull Woods available to us.
Yeah, Skull Woods is completely open. We're still missing Titans. Trying to think. I believe it's out of logic, but I think Armos actually had an item on him still. But I think I would probably head to Skull Woods because it's a pendant dungeon, or not pendant, crystal dungeon. You need to clear it, so that's probably the next place.
It seems a lot like the lamp would be there, based on what I'm looking at. Meanwhile, Janus taking care of the Death Mountain checks. With the hammer we'll find here, technically speaking, they'll be able to access the Spike Cave, but we don't have enough health or enough safeties to get through it.
Yeah, and we know one of our safeties, although that is actually interesting. Thinking about it, they do have access to a safety.
They do have bottle. Is that the that was the one requirement, isn't it?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Cane of Berna was sitting on the library bookcase.
Oh, you're right. Wow, that could be a heck of a development. Says a lot about us watching this race, though, that the first thing that we're hoping for is the really crazy logic. Ooh, Jan's taking a rough death on Death Mountain.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if I saw him go get the old man or not. He did not, so I'll have to flute back up there.
Meanwhile, Space Cat's getting some pretty close calls here with the turtle rooms. Hoping that we can get that fire rod shot off, because it's going to be a very fast one hard to lose in the next room if not.
Yeah, looking for some kind of health or something, but doesn't have any. And she's got one heart, so I think she can. I don't think she can take another hit.
I think she'll get one with the blue mail, but that's pretty much it. I can't confirm that though. I'm used to having green mail here.
Okay, getting set up for that fire rod shot.
I'm not exactly sure what happened, but that was pretty sad for him to watch. It's rough when you try the fire rod from like 3 different angles and just no luck. Turtles everywhere.
Yeah, it looked like the turtles were kind of blocking all her shots when she was. It looks like she had the shots. It's just the turtles were already in the way.
Gotta admire the dedication though. We're gonna go after Helmosaur King again. Sometimes when you see NMG runners playing the randomizer, sometimes they'll go after like some muscle memory vanilla strats. So one thing that SpaceKat could do, we do have boots. You could dash into the turtle room and then walk a certain distance down the floor and just do some double taps of the hammer. That can get you through there, at least with enough safety that you can use the fire rod. And it looks like SpaceKat's trying to do that. Remains to be seen whether or not. Oh, does have Quake though. That could be very handy. We'll not be able to torch the to light the torch unless we use that green potion though. I can't think of a situation that calls for that green more than now though.
Yeah, it would probably be a pretty good idea. I think she's almost got him though, because I don't hear too much. Looks like I got 2 of them there.
There we go. Nicely done. Gets to save a green potion too.
They're lamp locked or glove locked. Either one will get you back there.
Well, it should be a relatively familiar fight for SpaceKat. This is pretty much the equipment you would have walking into this with NMG, just a little bit of extra health, really.
And silvers.
Oh, that's true. That should make for a pretty fast second phase. Oh, and Helmosaur King being a bro saying, no, I'm not going to move.
I'll just stand right in the middle and take it.
Oh, and the best possible boomerang as a reward. I'm sure SpaceKat feels great right now. Well, that is a little bit of crystal progress. I think our rationale from before is going to hold true here, though. Skullwoods really does look like the play. Now, if we find that Titan's myth, you know, I'm sure that we'll probably leave Skullwoods pretty quickly, unless, well, Skullwoods is a crystal, so yeah, I mean, it makes sense to complete it right now. I'm sure our runners wish they had Tempered, though.
So we'll see where she decides to go now, because I believe she already checked Pyramid, checked Catfish, because that's where we got Fire Rod, so it's probably going to go to the north side. I'm guessing go right into Skull Woods at that point.
Yeah, the pathing seems pretty good for it. Very handy hookshot location there. One thing that a lot of runners will forget who haven't been playing, you know, nearly as much, is that hookshot is part of the logic. So if you have a hookshot, you can get to pretty much most of the Dark World, even if you don't have Hammer. We're gonna get a bumper cave check here.
Looks like just $50 up there, so cape's not needed for this.
Yeah, certainly not a very useful seed for that at all. Well, looks like your instincts were right, Sir Glad. We're definitely getting a Skull Woods play out of here.
Yes, I don't think there's really that many more areas for them to check. They could go back to Light World. They'd have Bonk Rocks. Technically, Spike Cave's there. They'd have to head to the library to get the Cave of Berna, since they have Potion. That is definitely within logic now, but there's not too many locations in this. You know, it's a Crystal Dungeon already, so you might as well come in here, check the items, and get that first.
All right, so I was saying before that there's probably lamp in here. I got to think mirror is also our next big thing, but we did find half magic, which is a very welcome find in Skullwoods.
Yeah, especially considering you have to kill Mothula, and Master Sword is still not a terrible fight, but yeah, having half magic on Mothula, you really don't care too much at that point what sword you have anymore.
The other nice thing about Fire Rod strats on Mothula is that it also helps to unstick Mothula from the wall, where Mothula is relatively immune to damage. So that's a very handy thing to be able to use. Normally, if you have Tempered Sword or above, you just resort to Sword Slashes. I'm sure SpaceKat's going to use it to good advantage here.
Technically, Master Sword at the moment, no, it's not actually a sequence break. That's right. They found flippers in Pod. The Master Sword that they found was in the waterfall. And we have Janus kind of running through Thieves Town, so we'll see everything from there. He's going to pick up his bow when he gets to the basement.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see this out of Janus, because we know that it's going to take him all the way to the boss. So we're definitely not going to worry about missing this bow. And having those silver arrows early in the seed is going to make life a lot easier for him. I believe he hasn't gone to Sahasrah's yet, though, has he?
Yeah, he has not went back there to pick silver arrows up, so he'll just be on the regular wooden ones for now.
It's also a little more frustrating to do this statue room when you don't have the mirror, because now we're going to have to push the statue out of the way when we come back through.
Yeah, or having Canis Samaria.
Definitely an easy item to forget you have in that room, though, if you're used to just doing the push strats.
Yeah, as was brought up in chat, as far as the heart colors, that is something new with V29. If I'm not mistaken, they added it as an accessibility option for colorblind people, so they could still fully see the color of their hearts and everything like that.
If I understand it, the conversation about that actually came up from somebody who has red-black color blindness, so couldn't really determine the difference between like a full or empty heart. Definitely an awesome addition to the randomizer. I want to thank devs for putting that in.
Yeah, definitely.
It also looks sweet, so I'm sure everybody's happy about it. Oh, chat bringing up a good point. It might actually be faster when you're in that big key room to get wall mastered or floor mastered. Depending on your setup, it doesn't take that long to push a statue if you're moving diagonally with the D-pad.
Janus taking a death.
Okay, and it is going back in. That's important. It would be very bad if we jumped out of here for any reason.
Yeah.
Good to see some nice B strats out of SpaceKat over there from Mothula. Kind of taking advantage of... Oh, wow.
Well, that was definitely something they were meant to do.
So, okay then, with the Kane, let's see here. So we still need those Titan's Mitts. I mean, that's really the big thing. Kane doesn't do a lot for us yet.
No, Kane didn't really open anything up, but depending on where Titan's Mitts are, Turtle Rock becomes a option, because as long as it's not Ether, they still need Mirror to get to Ether.
Okay, so hard to imagine what the next play would be, though. I mean, I guess you would go to...
Boots locations. So
Yep.
she's checking Bach Rocks right now. That could potentially have something. Spike Cave, and I think Armos is all we're sitting on right now. But
Well, that
there's our
didn't take
Titan's
long.
Mitts.
Yeah, so your instinct's serving you very well, Sir Linklaw. This is pretty much exactly what SpaceKat wants to see here. That being said, though, I mean, do you make the Turtle Rock play?
It's a gamble because you don't have Ice Rod yet. I mean, a Gomo Turtle Rock's not really that much faster, but you're risking having a double dip if Ice Rod is not in there. But you also do have all of Dark Death Mountain to check while you're up here too.
Sounds exactly right. Looks like SpaceKat's going to exhaust as many overworld checks as possible. And for how hard it was to find those Titan's Mitts, I don't blame her.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, which might be kind of a troll, if she does find the Ice Rod in Turtle Rock, she doesn't have the mirror, which means she'll have to skip Mimic Cave. And if something ends up being in the Mimic Cave, that will probably be a very long time before you check it.
That's a different block pattern. I haven't seen that in that cave before, but in the meantime, we have Janus going after blind here. Has a lot of health to work with. Has to be careful not to take too many direct hits, though.
Yeah, Janus has been playing Randomizer for a long time. Again, it's not necessarily a reliance on the map track or anything like that, but just that idea. It's not even a very common thing of having to go back there and then there being an item back there that you miss. So it can definitely be something, and it's like people brought it up. It happened earlier in another race, so it's not a very common thing, but we've already seen it happen twice today. And this point, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I ran into that earlier in the week myself, and that's the only time I've ever had that happen to me. Hookshot Cave not being too bountiful here.
And Janus did pick up his bow and thieves down, so that's a good thing. And he'll pick up his boots in a little bit.
Well, so you do know that Quake is what we need for Turtle Rock, so we're not going to have to find the medallion for that. There is a 50-50 chance, or I'm sorry, a 2 in 6 chance that we have everything we need medallion-wise for Go mode later, but we haven't exactly checked Mire area yet. That might actually be a pretty good place to check right now.
Yeah, at least the shed, and then the medallion as well, because then you know if you're gonna need mirror, because that gives you some ideas on where mirror might be.
While it does cost an extra flute to check, it's very wise to check the desert ledge. You never know if that book is going to be important or not. If I had to guess, I would honestly say Janus is probably heading... Well, never mind. I thought we were heading towards Palace of Darkness there. We'll get a Dark World Hype Cave. And SpaceKat not finding anything in the Misery Mire Shed. That's rough.
And Bombos is our Misery Mire, so we don't need to worry about the Lake Hylia Island then. Looks like we're gonna head right in too.
While we're waiting on that Bombos, Janus not finding much but health and about 300 rupees in the Hype Cave. That's probably a pretty frustrating cave.
Yeah, KBZ, the tracker that's being used by our tracker Merc 249. It's a tracker that's made for speed gaming for the restreams.
Well, we do have Janus heading towards the Palace of Darkness. It's not sure just yet if we're going to see us do some dark rooms. Here in Mire, though, we are not finding what we want to see right away. We're getting 2 small keys. In the meantime, Janus is going to make their way through. Definitely curious to see if we're going to see dark room strats, because that would pay off pretty well here.
Yeah, it would. And I know when he was running through the first ones, he was kind of avoiding dark rooms, so we'll see if he does it or not.
With that death in Mire, though, could have been a death warp, actually. I didn't catch that. But we were going through a fair amount of spike room damage. With that death, though, SpaceKat's going to head right back in. There's still a few items to check in here.
Lamp cannot be on Armos because it's behind a dark room. It could be on Spike Cave. There could be plenty of locations for it still. That's not just before dark room. It could be in Turtle Rock still. Could also be an Ice Palace. We have full access to Ice Palace now.
We do get to see some really nice routing out of Janus here, using the bonk strats to get across this gap. Very nice when you don't have the mirror.
Yes.
Otherwise, this dungeon would be very fast.
Gets his Braum across the gap. It cannot be Laser Bridge, but it could potentially be Mimic Cave. They'd need the mirror first, though. There's our big key.
Yeah, that certainly took a minute. That's probably my least favorite place to find it, because, I mean, honestly, at that point, I've hit the switch to go check the vanilla big key spot. So, I mean, I'm not usually going to go there until after anyway.
Looks like Janus is actually going to leave the dungeon, not head to the basement to kill Helmasaur.
Certainly a less risky strat. I mean, if you know that you're not going to do every dark room in the game necessarily, then, you know, you're going to be looking for that lamp more than anything. On the bright side, Janus will find the Titan's Mitts, so that's going to definitely help to even this out a bit.
Yeah, definitely. He'll have access to a lot more. SpaceKat has, you know, a few pendants, but they found Titan's Mitts a lot faster in the general sense.
One of the most difficult dark rooms in the game here for SpaceKat. Just got to find that switch and place the Samaria block down, which is a lot harder than it sounds. If you want to see someone doing it expertly, there's a really great blindfold run by Parisian Player I recommend you guys check out. You know, it's got to be nice for SpaceKat to have that red shield right now.
Yeah, it doesn't make this dark room any it makes it easier, and it's still a very difficult room, but being able to block some of those fireballs definitely makes things a little bit easier.
Oh, and we're going to get a spike cave check, it looks like, out of Janus.
SpaceKat taking a desk to that dark room.
That's a frustrating place to get through. I mean, if you thought turtle rooms was bad, it gets worse. I mean, I don't think it's really worth it to go after Vitreous when you don't have, you know, lamp in this situation. Unless you can reliably get through that room every time, it's just way too much time sink. Well, Turtle Rock is looking more and more appealing.
Yeah, we've got Turtle Rock on the board. Ice Palace is on the board. Like I said, I think there's still an item on Armos, but we're not going to find a lamp there.
Ice Palace seems promising enough, though. I mean, because you're absolutely right about Turtle Rock. That's just a long dive back through. It's almost better to do 2 run-throughs of Ice Palace than to double dip Turtle Rock if you can avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, and then especially, you know, if you have to double dip it, unless it's your last dungeon, which at that point more than likely you'll make it your last dungeon, you will have to climb Death Mountain at that point another time just for Ganon's Tower. Silvers are in the back of Sahasrala's hut.
Well, we know Armos Knights that Space Cat's going for definitely can't be the lamp. If we were to find the lamp in Turtle Rock, though, this could be the mirror.
Yeah, this could be the mirror. It could even be something truly like the Ice Rod. And Turtle Rock being a forced double dip, something like that. But there's still plenty of things we could find in here that would be locked behind the lamp, but that could still give us some extra spots to check.
Wow, getting some pretty nice darkroom strats out of Space Cat, killing pretty much everything in the room without too much issue. In the meantime, Janus is going to check Hookshot Cave. Not going to be too impressed with what they find there.
And now we get to see the incredibly quick Armos kill with silver arrows.
I guess this is probably the one situation that calls for like the even more optimal strats of being in the bottom right corner, but definitely a good kill here, and we're going to get a replacement set of arrows for compensation. That's rough.
Yep.
I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? We did come up 4 arrows ahead.
Yeah, we gained arrows. That was worth it, right? You need those to finish the game. Nothing in Spike Cave, though. Just a big 20.
Yeah, that's definitely an ouch moment.
Looks like Space Cat is going to make the Turtle Rock play, though.
Yeah, if you're going to choose your poison, you know, I guess you do what you're more comfortable with. And Ice Palace is, you know, being a pendant. It is green pendant, so I mean, it's not like it's not worth it to go through. But I don't know, it's tough. I mean, if you can go mode it, you're going to save a lot of time.
Yeah, and like you know, like we said, Turtle Rock. It's not go mode. Turtle Rock isn't really that much quicker than a normal one, so it's not a bad idea to go in there. You know, if Ice Rod's in there, it's definitely a great play. Yeah, it's gonna come pick up that Master Sword. But yeah, pedestal, since we're starting to pick up quite a few items, as far as our pedestal, let's see here. What do we have for pedestal? Ice Rat could be on pedestal. Mirror could be on pedestal. Book could technically be on the pedestal.
Which could, of course, lead to the
Or no, wait. Oh yeah, book, but book. Well, book could technically lead to something if it's on a tablet. The lamp, I believe, could actually be on the pedestal.
You know, I find this pretty interesting that Janus is the first one to go into Ice Palace with Bombos. I mean, nothing wrong with using Bombos here. Plenty of magic to do so with. We just need to make sure we have enough for Cold Stare, but that's not too hard to do. We're going to get a chance to see some different items here, though. We get Space Cat going after the Hera basement.
Yeah, 2 areas we haven't seen before, so we'll see if either one of these pays off.
Well, looks like Space Cat's going to get her coffee break.
Always a nice one to get. Yeah, any of the fetch quest items could be there, so we could see powder, mushroom, shovel. Like I said, lamp could be on there. So none of the dungeons required are on there or require a light source. We could have mirror on there or ice rod, so there's still plenty of items that could be on there.
Personally rooting for Master Shovel.
And only some bombs in there. Ooh, gets the Ice Palace bomb jump, but accidentally takes a fall.
Well, plenty of bombs to work with. Having a little bit of difficulty getting the setup with the ledge. There's like 3 different pixels that you can actually stand on that have their own respective bomb jumps. This one looks a little better.
Yeah, that one looked better.
Taking great advantage of hookshot iframes. While you're in hookshot animation or being pulled by a hookshot, can't take any damage, so it's a great way to get past that firebar.
So where is Space Cat gonna go now?
That's a really good question. Can't check Magic Bat. We do have Peg Caves, I think.
Oh yeah, Pay Caves and Blacksmith Purple Chest is open as well.
Not exactly the most fun to do so without the mirror, but oh, you know, I think Janus might have done that Bombos a little bit too early.
It does look, yeah, a little bit too early. Didn't get the second one to come out first. Still don't think we've seen anything of value in Ice Palace just yet.
Though there is still a fair amount of the dungeon left. Very long journey to get through this whole thing, so Janus is going to do some of the work for us trying to figure out our no mode.
Well, our swordsmiths are instead shovelsmiths today.
I think they need to give a Shovel Knight and have a conversation here.
Maybe they're the blacksmiths that made Shovel Knight's shovel.
would be a pretty nice shovel. We're going to put it to use right away, though, it looks like.
There's one item in Ice Palace, but it's just a big 20.
Big 20's being a bit of a troll here in the seed. A couple of important places where we needed items, just nothing but rubies. But the shovel is a much more fruitful endeavor. We got Ice Rod, folks. Turtle Rock's now a much more sensible play.
Yeah, everything except Laser Bridge is within sequence too, so would not be surprised to see her make that play.
Not only that, but she can do the Laser Bridge skip, so I mean, this is going to be pretty rewarding for Space Cat.
Looks like we might go pick the purple chest up, though. She's not able to sequence break the magic bat glitch because she does not have a mushroom. You need the mushroom. And Canis Mario 2 magic bat glitch.
Just to briefly touch on that or explain the fake powder glitch, pretty much exactly what we were just saying. The only caveat is that you have to try to use the Canis Samaria with no magic remaining. You'll get the little text box that says, hey, you need magic. If you very quickly pause buffer basically to switch to the mushroom, when you leave that menu for some reason, doing that sequence of inputs will just do powder for some reason.
And Janus showing off the Dark World sprite for Frog.
Oh, I didn't catch that. What was that?
It is Bomberman.
Oh, that's amazing. I feel like an opportunity is lost, though, not doing the human sprite from Chrono Trigger for Glenn's character.
Helix Laser Bridge is still out of logic because they have to go through a dark room to get there.
Well, I suppose it would be really nice to find either lamp or mirror in this chest.
Yeah, it would be a stacked blacksmith. But he's only got a little bit of love for us.
He hid out in the desert just to give a little bit of love. Gotta love that man. You know, if we're following like a lore explanation for why that thief is in the desert, that could technically be Ganondorf from, a different timeline.
It could be.
I mean, how many other men do you see in the desert in any other, Zelda game? Well, it looks like Janus is about to make the attack on Cold Stare. Not finding much of value here in Ice Palace. This has been probably a pretty frustrating dungeon.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Cold Stare's got green pennants, so we got one item there. I don't know if he has the last item itself, though. Space Cat might still be looking for a lamp at this point. Probably not for Turtle Rock, but she did have problems with the Misery Mire Dark Room. So she might be looking for a lamp before heading back into Misery Mire.
Vitorp in chat asking the hard-hitting questions. Is that Mana Gerudo? Well, we don't have enough lore to work with here. In the meantime, though, we will get a Cold Stare, a Master Sword Cold Stare out of Janus. Without that Fire Rod, this is a tough fight.
Oh, takes a death, though. Those little puffs hit like a truck, even with blue mail.
Interesting. So Space Cat will make the Ice Palace play before going into Turtle Rock. I'm inclined to agree with this. I mean, there's a lot of things you could potentially find going here. And the time you would save from not having to climb Death Mountain again is absolutely worth it.
Yeah, and that, like chat's pointing out too, the fear of Mimic Cave holding something important and going in there with no mirror. Janus deciding to go away from Ice Palace. Hopefully he goes and checks Catfish soon, because he really needs to check that for that Fire Rod.
We have some folks in chat speculating about a potential lamp in Mimic Cave, and that would be just a cruel and unusual joke, but SpaceKat's trying to hedge her bets against that right now.
Yeah, because if you can do all the dark rooms, you are actually... SpaceKat is actually just mirror from Go mode. Looks like Janus is doing his pegs, and then probably gonna save and quit to go turn the smith in. He'll get his shovel. There's really no point to doing the bomb jump in Ice Palace if you were planning on full clearing the dungeon.
Also worth noting, she does have the cane, so I mean, it's the advantage of not having to, circle around the dungeon becomes irrelevant. And this also makes it a little bit simpler because you don't have to, take any damage. You don't have to risk anything. We still have Master Swords, so I mean, it's still relevant to not lose too much health here.
Yeah, and with no safeties whatsoever, SpaceKat's looking right now. It's like 7.5 hearts, so she's only got 2 hits before she's 1 hit away from death from Cold Stare if she doesn't get anything.
However, with Bombos and Fire Rod at her disposal, that's going to make this dungeon a lot easier to deal with. Cold Stare, probably the best weapon to use against Cold Stare if you don't have Tempered Sword, is going to be the Fire Rod.
Yes, definitely.
Well, Janus has 1 rod.
Yep, has that ice rod.
Nice rod, not going to be too nice, though. Still need that Fire Rod, and we have not checked Catfish.
Yep, and even after Catfish is going to need to head to Skullwoods immediately to get the Cane of Samaria.
Well, we're certainly covering all bases here. Janus picking up the purple chest. Not going to be too happy with the quarter of a heart you get from it, particularly after saving quitting to get full health anyway, or to refill health. Well, now that we have that key back in Ice Palace, had to do a little bit of backtracking to get there, but SpaceKat will proceed a little further. Janus, on the meanwhile, in the other side of the screen, will be checking the Misery Mire area, knowing now that it is accessible. Gotta think that we're going to see a similar full clear of everything we can get to, though. I mean, I could attempt a Darkroom strat, but that'd be a heck of a gamble for probably no payout.
We'll see what he decides, see if he goes into the mire.
Janus saying, no, sir, I'm not going to check Mire right now, so I wonder where we're going to go from there. Hopefully Catfish.
Yeah, he needs to go there. He's running out of locations.
It's also really nice to not have gone into Mire at this point, because without that fire rod, that torture room is really painful.
Oh, looks like it might be making the Catfish play.
Well, that's certainly a relief to see. I believe SpaceKat has everything in Ice Palace except for Cold Stare item.
Yeah, I believe so too. Sees the bomb upgrade on the pyramids. Probably gonna nope out of that. It's gonna save and quit though.
Well, it sure seems like we have a couple of different options for Cold Stare's item. I mean, we definitely want to see the lamp or the mirror, but I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to get a big 20.
The big 20s have been like that today.
Oh, it seemed like Janus didn't make it all the way to Catfish. That's odd.
No, he saved and quit from the pyramids. I think now he's realizing that and heading back in.
Definitely a good catch to make. In the meantime, SpaceKat's going to be finishing off Cold Stare, hopefully. Can't really take too many hits here.
Yeah, it can only take one hit from Cold Stare, and that's if it doesn't take another hit from Ice, and there's that hit. So you're going to have to be really careful. Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, did not know. She must have got a fairy.
And wisely choosing to switch to Fire Rod. We can also hit more than one Cold Stare puff of this, so it's a pretty useful weapon in this fight.
Use of the green potion to get that magic back.
Not really too many boss fights that are better to use it on.
Oh, just a key though. Alright, so we must have found all 3 items there then. but we still do have the green pendant. Janus coming to Catfish, going to get his fire rod. Hopefully he goes right to Skullwoods with that.
So this is interesting. I mean, does Sahasrahla have everything we need in order to do the torch glitch? Or, you know, for the Ganon fight?
It's possible.
We did find silvers there earlier, so the required double dip on Sahasrahla's hut could prove to be the play here. That would be extra punishing for Janus, who died just before, or left Ice Palace dying to Cold Stare. And I just can't picture why you would want to jump in there first without checking everything else, you know, after you've already died to it.
Yeah, at that point, to me, if I'm leaving a dungeon knowing the green pendant's there, I'm gambling that. That's probably the last area I'm going back to if I need to.
Wow, the mirror!
So Sahasrahla is hiding a mirror under his robes.
Also, that's Dark Room Go mode, isn't it?
Yeah, that is technically no lamp go mode.
Well, that's a crazy development. That's gonna give SpaceKat pretty much a lot of wind to the sails, because I mean, depending on how comfortable you are with Turtle Rock, and there's only so many other places that could be checked. I mean, now we have Grove, we've got the ledge for Graveyard.
Yeah, it opens up quite a few locations. Swamp Palace definitely looks like that's where she's planning on going. I think it really depends on how comfortable she is going back to Mire in the dark, whether or not she's gonna like just go mode swamp or not.
With as many dark rooms as there are, I mean, it seems like it's definitely worth the gamble to head to the back to finish off Argus and, you know, see what you end up with afterwards. Because I gotta think going left side's probably less time costly than bumbling around in certain dark rooms, because dark rooms can go south pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially when you have to go through, you know, some of the more difficult ones, like, you know, the Turtle Room and Pod, Misery Mire dark rooms. Those are probably two of the roughest dark rooms in the game. Yeah, that's one thing, you know, I've noticed. You know, SpaceKat doesn't seem to have any problems going to the dark rooms at all, whereas Janus has went through some of the easier dark rooms so far, might not be comfortable with some of the more difficult dark rooms.
Well, Janus is going to have a much easier time with Moldorm having so much of a kit here. We could actually use Cane of Burna if we wanted to, just to be even safer, but Master Sword's plenty good enough. Just going to take 3 quick sword spins.
I've got a swipe, so we're going to see the quick Moldorm. We got the poke, though, and finished him off.
You know, chat does bring up a pretty good point. We still kind of want to see a sword upgrade, so I'm wondering if SpaceKat's going to check more going through Swamp here in the hopes of finding that tempered.
Probably really depends on how comfortable. It looks like it's going to be a full clear, but you know, it really depends on how comfortable you are with the Master Sword. With Silver Arrows, it's, you know, still a nasty fight, but it's not even close to it if you had to do Master Sword Silverless. looks like Janus got his coffee break.
Yep, a lot to contemplate during this brief pause. Certainly, gotta wonder, how this might have played out a little differently if we had farmed that bomb and escaped.
Janus gonna get his bombs.
Yeah, it's extra frustrating to have that one because, we're doing a double dip there. So our runners have wasted a fair amount of time trying to catch up to some of these really obscure locations they couldn't access later or earlier.
Didn't look like anything major on the left side.
Pretty handy health refill with that full heart container, though, or at least with the heart piece filling up the full quarter. So it looks like we're going to see some pretty similar progression here for Janus heading through pretty much the same dungeons. We're looking at a lot of the same bottlenecks, so it's not too surprising. SpaceKat, however, does not have a big key, so we are not going to see that big key chest yet.
SpaceKatUniverse is in go mode if she, other than Lamp. So if she knows all the dark rooms, which it looks like she knows them because she did try a Misery Mire. She just had problems with getting the Samaria block on the switch to open the door. But, she's probably looking for Lamp. Definitely I'm guessing looking for a sword upgrade and who knows what else. Yeah, it's just taking care of these Gibdos so he can go check the back room. SpaceKat starting her fight against Argus.
Certainly a more frustrating fight with Master Sword. This is one thing that is nice about the NMG run. You get to have temper here. Not too threatening of a dungeon, though. Argus going down without too much trouble. Let's see what we get for this.
Just 5 rupees.
Well, the list sure seems to be narrowing of places where, that mirror or that lamp could be. We do still have a lot of mirror locations we haven't checked, though.
Yeah, Mirror could technically be anywhere in Desert Palace right now as well. Mirror did open that up for us.
Yeah, that would be a great peace of mind at this point. Having to make a lot of guesses if we don't know where that lamp is. Obviously, we still have to go through the same dungeons, but Misery Mire, a big pain, and then Turtle Rock, of course, being kind of frustrating. But this will definitely be a big help to Space Cat if we can find it. We do have this big key chest, though. We're going to check that in a moment.
Just a 5-arrow upgrade, though. See what she decides to do. I think she's thinking about where she wants to check. Looks like it's going to be checking some of these mirror locations in the Dark World where Janus is making his Mothula fight.
Certainly nice to see him doing with the Fire Rod. We don't have half magic to work with, though, so having to resort to Master Sword for the rest of the fight. Janus is down to half a heart.
Half
This
heart.
is really close.
And no safeties.
Well, let's see how you do with bullet hell situations. That's rough. Whoa, we have a red sword.
Well, don't really need much more for Ganon to be safe. Red mail would be really nice. Obviously the butter sword, but
We'll also have the opportunity to take advantage of previous practice on that Ganon fight because, Tempered Sword Ganon is definitely where most people spend their time when they're practicing Ganon. So this looks to be a pretty fast finish here, hopefully. We just need to find that lamp because I get the feeling it's going to be very frustrating to do this without it. Might be checking Desert. That's interesting. Or even Checkerboard Cave.
yeah, probably gonna check Checkerboard, and then I would guess since you're here, check Desert, because the front of Desert's a pretty quick check.
Sure feels good to have boots. Ooh, mushroom.
Almost decided to look like it was almost decided to nope out of that.
Well, so that's interesting. We have an opportunity to check Magic Bat if we route this right.
Yeah, if they know the fake holiday glitch, that's definitely something she could do.
The rough thing about that, though, is we have half magic, so that's kind of frustrating. Opting to turn it in instead. Ooh, got grabbed by the Floor Master in approaching the Mothula refight.
Turn in the mushroom for some arrows.
Yeah, it's not the greatest trade ever. Now I'm really curious as to what's that magic bat, because unless Vidi has the magic powder, I don't think we're going to see it.
Yeah, I think we're either it would have to be there, but even then, I don't think we're gonna see it, because it would have to be in Turtle Rock, and because I think she's gonna make a play to Turtle Rock after checking all these mirror locations, assuming she doesn't find the lamp. It is possible for lamp to be on pedestal.
But first, we're going to check King's Tomb. Going to get 50 rupees out of that.
They do not have the book, so they can't check the pedestal yet. Flies back to the mire area, so we'll see if she goes back into mire to try to clear that out, or if she's going to head to desert.
Well, we're pretty stacked as far as equipment goes walking into desert here, so it might not be a bad idea just to get the pendant for, insurance, particularly if there's an item over there in Lamolus.
Well, also, she already has 2 pendants, so this would actually unlock the pedestal. She wants to blindfold the pedestal, hoping for something like the lamp.
And knowing that the lamp hasn't been available yet and having pretty much checked everything, it's not that bad of a play to make. I mean, you would be betting against your opponent making every single dark room otherwise.
We'll see what happens if she finds both items in here, if she decides to go after Landmolus, or if she decides to leave the dungeon.
Yeah, I gotta think finding a lamp in here would be the end of this dungeon.
And Janus is going for Mothula again.
Not a fun refight with 3 hearts and not a lot of magic. Had a little bit of trouble with the Gibdo Hellway. Wow, really nice use of sword spins.
Gets his Samaria.
That fight deserves a lot of credit. That's not a very easy fight to do. Sword spins on a moving conveyor belt against Mothula of all enemies. That's tough.
Currently, Cat is missing nothing other than Lamp, and that's only if she feels uncomfortable with the remainder of the Dark Rooms, which all she has is Misery Mire and Turtle Rock.
Gotta think the Janus here wishes he had the mirror.
Yeah, definitely, and we've got a Butter Sword.
Oh wow, that's in desert. Holy smokes. Well, Ganon's Tower and Trinex just got a lot easier.
Yeah, I don't think you have any worries about the Ganon fight now. Looks like we are going up to Turtle Rock, though.
Ooh, getting Waffle Housed over here.
Yeah, I don't think she has many other places to check, if anything, other than Pedestal. I think it's honestly just Pedestal and Turtle Rock she has. Looks like Janus might actually be making the exact same play up to Turtle Rock now.
If we do find the lamp there, that could be a pretty nice development for Janus.
Yeah, because more than likely, not sure when he'll get the mirror, but because he's going to need to go to Ice Palace, so it's probably going to be a while till he finds that. He'll probably end up clearing everything else in the game before getting that mirror.
Wow, very early big key in Turtle Rock. That's, it's not going to affect too much routing, but it's very nice to find early.
Yeah, because depending on what you find in this room right here, There's a couple chests you can kind of skip then, but since you're looking for, if she's looking for lamps, she wouldn't skip them anyways. Well, there's our lamp.
Well, our runners are nearly making a high five, very close to each other right now. Well, late lamp is an interesting development in the seed. We get to see, I guess, a little bit of side-by-side how well our runner's going to handle Turtle Rock, but at this point, Space Cat really doesn't have anything to stop for.
Yep, gonna need to check that chest because it looks like it's gonna have a key. Or at least steal the key from here.
We do get a rare opportunity to see the bunny sprite for Space Cat, an actual cat. Looks like we found a heart container, not quite St. Cart though, but shout out to St. Cart anyway, as always. Ooh, that Pokey. Janus forgetting there that the Master Sword will not finish off a Pokey in one sword spin, if you time it right, like you would with Tempered Swords. So that's a rough death there in Turtle Rock, and actually going to save and quit.
Oh, that hurts.
Now, that being said, while we could have finished Turtle Rock, at least we got the lamp out of it. That's the biggest thing.
True. But yeah, Space Cat having Butter Sword as well as, Blue Mail, got 16 hearts, everything she needs. Highly doubt she's going to check any extra chests, I would assume.
And there's the powder. So if it weren't already pretty safe to go through the rest of the Gan's Tower, I mean, it's now much, much safer. Seems like Space Cat is actually opting to try to get some fairies here, powder some fairies.
She might actually have to go to the big key, or the big chest, because she has no key to get through the crystal roller room. And I think this is the only option she has for a key right now.
Yeah, she was hoping to find one in that room, you're right.
Janus going back into pod now. Most certainly going to clear it out. And then we'll probably... or no, doesn't have mirrors, so can't even.
Yeah, I would say it's probably the most painful dungeon to not have it there for. Desert without boots and mirror is probably the closest second, in my opinion.
And she does have to watch her health going through this room because she's only got a heart and a half, so she can only get hit by the fire bars once.
Getting to see some pretty nice tech here, using the iframes from the hookshot to avoid the fire bars completely. Otherwise, would have died in that room. Well, 34 bombs. I can't see why we wouldn't want to open up the safety door here.
Yeah, especially with a heart and a half.
I almost thought we were going for a bomb strategy to knock that red beetle off the ledge. That would have been a first for me.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Just going to give SpaceKat the benefit of the doubt and say that was a death warp. Absolutely calculated. For those of you who aren't familiar with how this skip works, when you're skipping the laser bridge mirror shield that you would normally use, all you actually have to do is you just need to avoid getting hit by the front end of the laser. The back end of the laser doesn't actually do any damage. This is the same thing with the fire snakes that we can see throughout the game. But with that extra small key, SpaceKat is clear to get through the rest of this. With one heart left, though, we're going to have to powder some anti-fairies here.
Yep, probably powder both anti-fairies on the way and then pick up that full magic right before Trinex. Oh, only going to do one, though.
Yeah, if we still had that Master Sword, I could definitely see where she'd be coming from there. But with half magic, butter, I mean, we're in a pretty good spot here. Just need to make sure that we can take at least one hit. Well, if you haven't seen a fast kill on Trinex recently,
there's the fire and ice head of Trinex, and we just got the main body now.
Little known fact about the bosses here in A Link to the Past, they're all made of C4. They have to explode for a really long time before you can finish them off.
And down goes Trinex.
Oh, hey, we actually get to see the item in Palace of Darkness this time. It was a blue potion. Okay, I was wondering where they got that.
It was a green potion, but yeah.
Did I say blue? Oh, God.
I'm sure they would have loved to see some blue potions.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Janus has green hearts right now, right? Right?
Yeah.
But other than that, though, we're going to get a much easier dark room maze. Not really like in the bomb upgrade, I can't imagine. So we're not going to find a whole lot here in Palace of Darkness. Janus needs to make his way to Helmasaur King fast.
SpaceKat heading back into the mire with the lamp this time. So we'll see probably a very quick just run to the back through the dark room to get to Vidi.
And I got to think the Vidi kill here is going to be very quick.
Yeah, more than likely you have the one item that I think everybody wants to have on Vidi. Bow and silver arrows.
And then, of course, with this much health, if it really were something that we forgot, forgot that we had the silver arrows, you could easily do the damage strats and finish them off even with a zero cycle. With Butter Sword, it's much easier. Though it does look pretty slick when you get silver arrows nonstop to finish it off. I mean, Vidi's one of the few bosses that can take more than a couple of them.
I think he's the only boss other than Ganon that can take more than one silver arrow, isn't he?
Yeah, if we're excluding the eyeballs, yes, that's exactly the case. Although, to be fair, a few of them don't even take damage from silver arrows. Very weird how this game does damage classes. If you guys are interested in finding out more about the underworkings of the game, I definitely recommend you check out the Discord for the general link to the past community, the SRL Discord. Lots of interesting tech stuff, and also, you know, kind of exploring the game, figuring out what kind of exploits are out there. Great discussion to be had there. I recommend you guys check it out.
And I saw it was asked, silvers were in the back of Sahasrah's hut. You all can see what the turtle room actually looked like that Space Cat did the dark room through.
Well, normally we would be dropping a ton of bombs so that we could get an automatic item switch to Fire Rod for this switch in the next room, but with 30-something bombs, I don't think Cat's going to be able to pull that one off. Meanwhile, Janus has the Helmasaur King fight. We're going to find... I'm trying to remember, what did we find here?
I think it was actually just a big 20 off of him. That was Armos. I don't know if he actually had anything.
Well, I do like seeing the attempts at hammer strikes, because hammer strikes are very hard to hit on Helmasaur King, but that'll be enough for a quick wrap-up. We get to see Vidi on the left side.
Hops to do sword spins instead of shooting silver arrows.
It can be kind of weird to adjust, because like she was just in the MG tournament, so I mean, used to using tempered sword strats here. 2-cycle, not bad.
Okay, well, that means SpaceKatUniverse has her 7th crystal. Do you know what that time it is?
You know, I think it's time to make a guess as to where we're going to find the book, right?
No, I think it might be the big key instead, but, you know, we could guess for the book, too.
You know, I'm actually really pulling for a book on Torch. That'd be nice. But as as Sir Linkalot is telling us or mentioning, we are now trying to make a guess as to where the big key is in Ganon's tower. So there are 22 chests that we can access before we get to the big key chest, for example. Big key's got to be in one of them, and that's exactly what our runners are looking for. So get your guesses in chat, folks. Let's see who's going to be the first to guess the right number. Also, we will need to make sure that our runners bring at least one key up the tower. They could potentially still find one back there, but if you want to make sure that you're not gambling, that's the best way to do it. So where are we going to find that big key, folks? You got a guess, Sir Linkalot?
I'm going to guess chest 7 myself. And while Space Cat's up and we're bringing that up just quickly as well, there is a leaderboard as far as successful first guesses. To do that, you do have to either be subscribed to one of the Speed Gaming channels, doesn't have to specifically be this one, or you have had to have donated 250 bits to any of the channels. And then if you are successful, you'll be put on the leaderboard. Unfortunately, Ken, the best person, a ALTTPR randomizer sub does not count. It does have to be to the Speed Gaming family of channels. I do apologize about that.
Yeah, I believe that's just some bot limitation, but we are fast approaching the towers, so I'm thinking, I haven't given a guess yet. I'm a big fan of Bob's chest. I think it's going to be Bob today.
We'll have to see if Bob even survives first.
That's true. He might not be guarding that chest anymore. I missed that. Did SpaceKat go to the right side first?
No, went immediately left side, but Bob is going to survive, and that's our first location. Chest 3.
Very bland room so far, but there it is,
Okay.
chest 6. Or I'm sorry, that was chest 5.
So it looks like the first sub or supporter to guess correctly was Frostoise. Congratulations.
Well, a 5 chest Ganon's Tower, I mean, that's very nice. That's about as good as that can get for SpaceKat here without having to dive really too far into either side. That's got to be feeling good.
The lantern was in Turtle Rock, the left chest behind the fire rod. And SpaceKat is going to start her gauntlet up Ganon's Tower.
In the meantime, Janus about to make the assault on Armos Knights. Not entirely sure if Janus picked up silvers on the way here, though. That would have been very... No, it didn't, actually.
Nope, did not pick up silvers. Wonder if they were... Probably don't even remember that silvers are there. Because you would imagine they would have picked them up since you walked right by it.
Good news is, though, is that the fast kill is still very doable with just regular arrows. It's going to take a lot more arrows, but the number of arrows not a factor here. Very clean looking Armos finish, and SpaceKat's entering the second, or soon to enter the second half of Gauntlet. I'm going to have the Lamoas fight in a moment. So if I were Janus, I mean, it's hard to say where we go next. I have to imagine either Swamp or Misery Mire, but we don't have that mirror, so I mean, the mirror was in Mire, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was. The mirror was... I'm trying to remember. I can't remember where the mirror is now off the top of my head.
Yeah, because that's really the big key item here for Janus in order to progress through the remaining dungeons here.
Oh yeah, mirror was green pendant. That's right.
Oh, that's super costly because we died to Cold Stare. That's tough. This is a really rough seat for Janus.
Yeah, I fully expect after Misery Mire you don't find it in there. I would expect you going to Turtle Rock before you even think about going back to Ice Palace.
Janus did make really good use of sword beams there in Mire 2. That room is really difficult to do quickly, so that looks to be something that Janus has practiced.
Yeah, definitely. The one crazy thing, too, is because of the way that Janus is going to find the mirror more than likely, he may not see another sword upgrade.
That's absolutely true. It would be very late in the seed where we would have access to, I think it was south of Grove we saw that, yeah. Or no, yeah, it was...
Yeah, one was south of Grove, and I think the other one was in Swamp, but I might have been left side, I think, so he might skip it. Got a very quick kill on Trolldorm 2, and there is the magic cape.
Well, that's a pretty handy find right before Ganon, though I don't think we're going to need it in this situation.
All right, and here's Aga 2. That might have been a double there.
I believe there's enough space there. So what Sir Linkalot's referencing is when you get a double hit with two shots too close together, they'll only register as one. So a lot of people will lose triples to that, which is unfortunate. But altogether, a decent Aghanim 2 fight. I think we could have saved maybe one cycle there.
Yeah, so I think it was 2. We had a double 0 2 1 1 is how that ended up being.
Cat expressing some frustration here, apparently. Lewd.
All right, and we're in for Ganon.
Here in Ganon, we just need 6 sword slashes with the gold sword to advance each phase, so we're going to see some 1-in-1 cycles here out of SpaceKat. Very easy to do with gold sword. Just got to make sure we don't die. Blue mail shouldn't be too difficult.
Nope, quickly to phase 3. Just need 4 hits to get to phase 4.
Ooh, the fall, that's rough.
Wonder if she'll pick up the fairy from the tree on the way back up to get her health back.
I mean, that is along the way, and, you know, no point dying here. Although she did already catch a fairy, so, I mean, maybe just trying to save the death animation if it did come down to that.
Yeah. Back in Ganon, though.
Well, we're getting fairly large amount of warps here in the refight.
One more, though, will get us to phase 4. There it is.
It's going to be very quick to finish this up. We only need 4 silver arrows. In the meantime, Janus will actually make the Vitreous fight at the same time as well.
Yep, looks like he's going to use bomb strats. Well, SpaceKat did get the torch glitch. And gets a double shot on Ganon with silver arrows. Sets up for another double. Gets it and finishes Ganon off.
That was a pretty good refight there. Having a very painful fight with Vitreous over here, though, with these arrows. It's a good thing that we have picked up so many arrow upgrades, actually.
Has to be careful, though, down to a heart and a half. And SpaceKatUniverse is going to finish at 2:34.56.
Meanwhile, it looks like Janus, with a hard and a half left in the Vitreous fight, also manages to clear that out. That was pretty close. I'm getting word here that we do have to cut this stream so we can prepare for some server-side things with the rest of the speed gaming schedule. So really quickly, I'd like to thank everybody for doing this race. Also, Tracker, Mert for doing the tracking on this. It's kind of hard to follow with the restart on Janus's side. And I also want to thank you, Sir Linkalot777, for joining me on the comms.
Yeah, definitely. Great to be here. Unfortunately, we aren't going to have time for interviews or anything like that because of that. But, in this channel, once that's finished, we do have some Link to the Past, No Major Glitches. The tournament will be on at 9 o'clock. If you do want some more Randomizer, though, it is the end of week 1 almost, but we still have a couple matches left. We do have a match at 10 o'clock, Zets 27 versus Lyra on Speed Gaming 2. And then at 10:30, we've got Twitch Coroner versus Cross Product on Speed Gaming 5. And those will be the last races of week 1.
And of course, if you're going to be sticking around on this channel for the NMG race, I'll actually be commentating it. So stay tuned, folks. Lots more Link to the Past to see. With that, though, I'm Eudaimonistic. I was joined by...
I was joined by Sir Linkalot777. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, folks. See you soon.